Welcome home, Bitcoin Truth Seekers. It is Thursday, January 21st, 9:32 a.m. here in the Arizona desert where it's raining. Check out Bitcoin Daily View. Got lots of cool stuff there. Also, some cool interviews did recently that are very inspiring, and a little thing I did about Yellen is yelling about Bitcoin FUD. Maybe time to hedge out? Well, the answer is no if you ask me, but not financial advice, but definitely some cool things to check out here. The USD market. So cryptos against USD, wrecked as F. Wow, except for DOT. Polkadot is kicking ass. Now let's look at the crypto market against BTC. Different story. So something that I'm noticing here. Of course, you may have noticed Bitcoin's dumping a bit today, but alts, are they beginning to be a spot where if you're in an alt which is trending upwards, doing well, is that a place to weather some of these Bitcoin dumps? Ethereum held up rather well for a while. Now it isn't the ETC, BTC pair. But look at like DOT, still up 11%. XRP up 2%. ADA up 2.5%. So really, if you've just been sitting in DOT during this, you'd still be up. Link even holding in there at 3% up. So not financial advice, entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor or a life coach, but with that said, I am starting to hedge a bit of Bitcoin into alts that are performing very, very well with a tight stop loss to make some gains, or you really would say a trailing take profit, which can be on 3 commas. And it's a good strategy because if you're making some gains in the alts, great. And if you have your trailing take profit and you're already in profit, and if it dumps, you're still going to make money. It might be a place to weather some of the Bitcoin volatility, these dumps that we're seeing. Anyway, just a crazy ass thing I'm doing that I throw it out there. 8.7, really 8.7 billion or 8.8 billion, if you round it off, in Bitcoin trading volume recently. This much of a dump that we're seeing this morning, that doesn't seem like that much to me. 4 billion on Binance. Coinbase showing up for work at 1.5 billion. Some people say some of this dumpage is happening basically on Coinbase, OTC, big moves happening. I'll get into that. Blockchain whispers, what is the longs versus short sentiment on Binance, where the volume is? Longs 25%, short 74%. So I would say the sentiment is short, but is it still, really? All right, Bitcoin dominance taking another dump today, going down, down, down. Bitcoin versus gold. How many gold coins would it take to buy a Bitcoin right now? 17. Traditional market. Okay, S&P 500 opening with a red candle. Russell 2000 opening with a red candle, and DXY dollar strength index opening with a red candle. I'm noticing this is a pretty substantial dump for market open, so the world's gone to hell real fast. Bitcoin daily, as you can see, that's not inspiring. This is the 21 EMA. On the daily, above it is bearish, above it is bullish, below it is bearish. It's a tight moving average against the Bitcoin on the daily. Worth looking at. We have dumped below it. That is definitely a bearish sign, but we're still way above the 200 moving average, but we're rocketing to it. MACD dumping without any remorse at all. Looking at the 3-day. 3-day, well, last 3-day bunch of candles, last bunch of 3 days, or last 3-day candle was a red. This current candle that we're working on for the 3-day, which started on the 19th, so 19th, 20th, 21st. It ends today. That'd be 2 red, that'd be 2 red 3-day candles in a row. Definitely bearish. Moving towards that 21 EMA, right? 21 EMA, moving towards it. MACD definitely, I would say it's not negative crossed yet, but it's trending negative without a doubt. So let's look at this. This is a weekly chart. I think it tells a story. We had a beautiful uptrend on the weekly for quite a while. It was kind of a sideways upwards trend. Then we had this super rocket ship to Pluto trend going up, hit an all-time high. Now we're turning around from that. It's great. It gives the Fibonacci sequence there a bit of meaning. If you look, I put this little green line right here. The previous week's wicked low, was right at about 30K. And so as you can see, we have crossed the 236 fib at 32,900 or so, or below that. And so really the next fib down would be at 27,000. That is quite a dump, but a place where I do see support, a place I'm looking for a bounce or some resistance to this dump, would be right around 30K, because that is the wick low of the previous weekly candle, and we are getting close to the end of this weekly candle. Let's look at the 2-hour chart, which has been pretty rocking, starting a fib sequence when we crossed the 200 moving average and created a very powerful uptrend to the all-time high. You can see this, basically this pattern here, this wedge, which everyone loves wedges these days. They're in style, kind of like Head and Shoulders. Everybody sees a wedge, everyone sees Head and Shoulders. But we've definitely broken below that wedge. We've definitely broken below the support line here. It's not a fib, but I definitely saw a lot of buy-sell volume there, and previous support resistance in the chart right at around 34, 35K, but we've dropped below that. We took a brief bounce, not a bounce, but a brief pause here at the .382 fib line, which is 33,000 basically, and now we're trending down below that. So this 2-hour chart has really been very accurate for me in charting Bitcoin's movement here, where it's at in this Fibonacci sequence of recent low to recent high. We are heading towards the .5 here, which is right at about 30K. So if I look at the weekly, like I say, the last week we did have a weekly wick to 30K, and now if we look at this 2-hour chart, we do have a fib line right there on 30K. Not a lot of buy-sell volume was there, so we shall see. But if you notice, we are kind of creating, we do have, if I extend this here, between the fib lines, let me actually clone this one, pull it down, you can see we actually do have previous support and resistance in the chart, and a bit of buy-sell volume right here where we're at, and we seem to be bouncing. So we shall see. We're either going to start turning around here, which we are doing, or we're going to visit that .5, which would be right around 30K, and we'll see if we bounce there. That would match previous weekly wick. Boom! There you go. Now for a shorter time frame, to 45 minutes. We are bouncing in this little wedge pattern here. This fib sequence is top down, basically from all-time high to the lowest dump we had recently. We're approaching that lowest dump once again. We are pretty much free falling here. I can't tell you much, but there are nice volume spikes, and right now we are starting to hesitate at 1. So we shall see. I'm looking at 30K really. I was asleep. I kind of didn't catch this dump as it started, so I didn't short it. But what I can say is, not financial advice, I'm just going to chill. If we see support and an upward movement, that's why I'm going to take that glorious like 5x short on 5x long on Bitcoin and ride it back up. I do have a lot of confidence in Bitcoin, obviously, and I think this is just a healthy, natural thing. Lots of good news, lots of FUD news, and let's move into that. As far as the FUD news, you can go to Bitcoin Daily View, check out the yelling about Yellen thing, or yelling about Bitcoin. It's the same old crap the old administration played. It's the new administration just saying that they're going to, hey, globalists, we're with you, whatever. I don't think her statements mean much, but it definitely did seem to affect the market, possibly. Ethereum versus Ethereum versus Tether up top, Ethereum versus BTC at the bottom. Ethereum versus Tether, you can see dump, but not so much against Bitcoin. So, having that long Ethereum, Ethereum bought with Bitcoin, ETH BTC, hey, maybe not a bad place to be. You may have fared better if you had a hedge into that. But right now, Bitcoin's continued its dump and it's beginning to crush the Ethereum BTC pair also. Polkadot, a badass little project. On the versus USDT right now, not doing too bad. Against BTC, doing really well. Hey, it could have been a place to hang out and avoid some of this dump. If you had your trailing take profit in, boom, if it dumps too much, you sell, get back in Bitcoin, dump with the rest of us. Or maybe, lose a good deal less or make some money in DOT. All right, ADA, ADA. It's a 45-minute chart. It broke through the 200 moving average. It's now trying to bounce off the 314. We shall see if it will. I think that's kind of what Ethereum is doing really on the dollar, against the dollar. It's kind of trying to bounce off that 314 moving average. But look at it, against BTC, it's doing really well this morning. Beginning to dump because the pressure is just too much from Bitcoin dumping. All right. Once again, ADA, dollar off against the dollar, like I said, bouncing off the 314, it's basically sideways against Bitcoin. Not a bad place to be, possibly. I'm kind of noticing that. Maybe some of these strong performing alts are a place to weather some of these Bitcoin dumps, as long as you can get in with a good trailing take profit or a static stop loss in profit. You're good to go. Uniswap, everybody loves it. Against the dollar, very sideways, but healthy. Above the 200 moving average, and look at that, actually beginning to uptrend on the 45-minute chart here against this morning's Bitcoin dump. So this Bitcoin pairing is doing really well, starting to weaken because Bitcoin just relentlessly won't stop dumping, but this chart looks good. Hey, it's not a bad play right there. Link sucks ass, just dumping with Bitcoin. All go dumping, but it's dumping. Not really strong this morning. YFI, interesting DeFi coin against the dollar, dumping like crazy. Against BTC, not doing too well either this morning. With that said, this is Bitcoin Daily View, and here is some news, okay? With the new Biden administration, this basically all this gibberish that goes on for pages and pages and pages. Somewhere in here it does say, somebody pointed out to me, and it does seem to be confirmed, that they're going to Munchin's plan to regulate off-chain wallets, I should say cold wallets, cold storage, seems to be at least on hold. That's good, positive news. Maybe we can just get past that nonsense. If you got a Trezor or a Ledger, etc., or any wallet that is not on an exchange, well, now you don't have to do KYC to basically move money on or off our exchange, at least from that wallet, at least for now. So that's kind of a good thing. BlackRock gives 2 funds go ahead to invest in Bitcoin futures. So as we know, Goldman Sachs recently had a leak, supposedly, that they're going to get into custody or their of Bitcoin, of crypto, for their clients. That was, allegedly. I'm just saying, for entertainment purposes only. I don't think that was a leak. I think it was a strategic leak. And just like BlackRock is now saying that they're going to get into futures, and Goldman Sachs, it has been, rumored or leaked that they may be getting into futures. Come on, people. Dang well they have been OTC buying before these leaks and before these announcements. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, he's an old, he's old school, man. I mean, this man ain't lost money for a long damn time, and he is not on this either. So we're dumping to 30K, maybe. That's where I see a turnaround, and that very well could be, hey, could that be manipulation of OTC, by the OTC market? You could say buying crap tons of Bitcoin, because look at this. Bitcoin liquid supply. Right now, Bitcoin is moving off exchanges. The amount that's free to buy on exchanges is going down as the price goes up. Well, these big ass players like Goldman Sachs and BlackRock, they don't play to lose. I think that this is manipulation. They're pushing this down. They've already been buying, but basically they're pushing this down because they want the weak hands to sell. They want your Bitcoin, by golly. They do. They need it because it's not there on the exchanges to buy. And you can make a point of this. Data says only 22% of Bitcoin supply left in circulation as BTC rallies. As the BTC rally is far from done. So look at this. For Glassnode, this process has now been quantified. Number crunching from Rafael Schultzcroft, the firm's chief technology officer, estimates that of the extent Bitcoin supply of 18.6 million, only 78% is, 78% is unavailable. Only 4.2 million of Bitcoin, about 22%, are currently in constant circulation and available for buying and selling. As I have heard, this article is a few days old, I do believe. Oh yeah, it's January 6th. I think we've actually, don't quote me on this, but I think we've shaved like 1 million off this. I think we're much lower than this availability. So when you see dumps like this, and you see big mega players who now are saying, hey, we're getting in the game, look at that. I mean, this is basically the supply that's going off of exchanges. Who do you think's got that? Well, you and I possibly, but also these guys. They play to win. I think this dump up to 30K, which might be a logical spot for a bounce. We'll see if it goes past that. I'm waiting for a confirmed uptrend to do a nice long with some leverage, but look at that. This is powerful, powerful stuff. We are seeing a liquidity crisis. I do believe it's happening. These guys know. They're creating this FUD to shake off the weak hands. I believe it. I just do. Okay, that's the way I see things. Another article here from Glassnode, which are some pretty smart characters. 78% of Bitcoin supply is not liquid. And right now, this is a couple days old. I believe this was from December 29th of 2020. It's even less than that. That is liquid. Sorry, I'm talking fast. I gotta run. Gotta go buy some prepper supplies because the world's coming to an end. But Bitcoin isn't. With that said, welcome home, Bitcoin truthsakers. I am glad you are here for the peaceful revolution. It matters. I am glad you're here. Chill. This dump is friggin' prophecy, all right? And it's a beautiful thing. I hope we'll see a bounce off 30K. Wait for that confirmed uptrend before you get back in if you're a longer with leverage. With that said, take care. All about the peaceful revolution.